Hi guys, hope you're having a wonderful day. My name is Robin. Thank you so much for subscribing to this channel. If you haven't, please do. I'd so much appreciate it as well. Click the thumbs up button if you're enjoying these videos, and always feel free to comment. So I'm going to pull up a few cards for a specific topic that's near and dear to my heart, which is depression. And so this is a topic where I feel like it's really time to stop and take a lot more action. Self-care is so important right now. There's a lot of fear around people right now, and I feel like it's so important to talk about this topic. So just pay close attention to how this resonates with you, and that's where sharing these videos can be really helpful. So our theme here says abundance from preparation and harvest. So a big thing about depression is anxiety tends to hang out with depression. And I am not a psychologist. I have a psychology background, but I am not a psychologist, and I am a Reiki healing practitioner. I'm a Reiki master, and I do theta healing. I do different types of reflexology, different types of self-care practices, meditation. I'm teaching, doing some coaching, things like that. But I am not a psychologist, so I'm just throwing that out there. I'm also an intuitive, so that's where I'm really focusing in on is intuition and hoping for the best here. The first thing is, when you have depression, get diagnosed. That would be the key thing. Go to the doctor and get diagnosed with it, so you can really start focusing in on, finding support with that, so that you can actually feel good about knowing, okay, this is actually what is wrong with me, or what is going on with me, I should say. Second of all, this is saying that when we're feeling depressed, you're going through a lot of emotional ups and downs. You're also potentially going through a lot of hormonal fluctuation as well. Chances are you have changes in your lifestyle. There may be stuff going on in relation to your upbringing, so lots of childhood things. And so it's the key thing here is judgment and assumptions and things like that. I think there are a lot of stereotypes around depression and what depression is. I've experienced it myself. I know exactly what depression is for myself, but I don't know what it is for you. So the more you can express and kind of open yourself up to what it feels like, what it looks like, that sort of thing, the more it's going to help other people, and it's going to help other people understand you, and essentially it's going to help you grow, change, and evolve, because it's not something that we need to live with forever. And that's where a lot of people feel like we do, and it's not true. And that's where our belief systems come in, and that's where I do theta healing, and I help people with that. And there are so many people that can't stand that people are talking about depression because they don't know what it's like to be them and that sort of thing. And it's like, I know what it's like to be me, and I know my experiences, and you know your experiences. So it doesn't have to be so isolated and separated. If you look at that, we've all experienced different things in our life. It's really about the communication aspect of how can we really relate to one another to try to show each other compassion and help and understanding with that. So this first card around depression says, go for it. The judgment piece is so big. We judge ourselves so much. We tell ourselves often that it's probably worse than what it actually is. We will also sit down with ourselves and kind of continue to feel the way that we feel. So the key thing is getting yourself up and motivated. So decision making is huge. That's where counseling is fabulous for that. Getting healing sessions is great as well, but professional people who are counselors are even better for that. So the other thing is looking at things from different perspectives. Having an open mind is really huge, because it's as important as it is to think, yes, okay, this is I'm diagnosed, this is what's happening. It's also really important to look at it from a positive mindset, such as I'm healing right now. I need time to heal. maybe you're depressed because you're grieving. Maybe you're depressed because you have seasonal disorder. Perhaps you're depressed because you're just feeling like you don't have enough, that sort of thing. And so there are always real reasons why you are not happy. And so it's coming to conclusions, it's problem solving, it's resolving the situations that you feel that way towards. So very important, okay? Can't believe I'm even touching on this topic because it's so, I feel like, touchy. Communication, inner truth. All right, here. So this is about just the how we perceive things in life. So often we feel like we need to escape from the way that we're feeling. So then we start, we'll say taking medication to make ourselves feel better. We start, diving into things that aren't always healthy. Food would be a perfect example. And so it's kind of like focusing on the energy of hope. And that there are other people around that are willing to help you. So a key thing is accepting the help from the people that are willing to help you. A lot of times we struggle because we don't want to accept the way that things are in order to change them. And then we don't want to accept the help from the people that are trying to help us. We don't always see things clearly when our emotions are foggy. And this is where I can help, because I help with a lot of that spiritual and emotional growth, which are the things that have helped me during times where I was depressed. So the key thing is, yes, solitude is a positive thing. We have to know how we feel inside in order to communicate that to other people. But once we know how we feel, it's so important that we react in a positive way and get it out of ourselves. So I don't mean anger. I don't mean, being pissed off at people that are trying to help us. I'm talking about, okay, I'm going to really connect to how I'm feeling, sit in that energy for a few minutes, maybe it's a few days, and then really start to identify with how I can use this in a positive way. So a lot of times people will become creative during times of depression, and this is where we have some of the most brilliant people, some of the most beautiful masterpieces, some of the most beautiful songs in lyrics, things like that. So it's instilling hope and not focusing on fear within yourself. So the judgment piece would be, oh, this person has judged me in the past, they've said this to me, and that sort of thing. And so there's a huge part of releasing during the change. So yes, your lifestyle is changing, that's a reality, absolutely. But you need to release it along the way. So what are you doing to help yourself grow and change spiritually? That's what I would suggest. And that's where it gets touchy, because not everybody's going to agree. And we are all unique in our own experiences, and that's the beauty of life. And that's where other people can help you more on your individual situation. Reflection, transition, and release. Interesting. Winter. So this is making me feel very emotional. This is saying there is a beautiful energy that comes from being sad. If we didn't experience sadness, we would not be able to appreciate some of the beautiful things here on earth. And so the people, like maybe such as myself, who have experienced those lows, also know how to experience highs. The issue with this is we don't want to continue highs and lows. As I was saying, that's what depression is. And so if you're always low, or even you're always high, this kind of is a form of imbalance. It may not be depression, but that's where anxiety disorders and things like that can fall into place as well. So it is a similar energy, but it's not the same. But a lot of people don't realize that anxiety and depression really hang out in the same category often. And so regardless of what the labeling is, it's understanding the energy of it. And so if we pull back and push back from things, we're going to feel saddened by the fact that maybe we're not seeing results as quickly as fast as we want to. And so there is often an impatience factor that comes with this sickness and this illness. And so that's where it can actually get worse rather than better, because we're not we are looking at the truth, we are looking at the real factors and that sort of thing. And often people that are sad do observe things and feel things on a very raw level. Often empaths and sensitive people can struggle with this, and that's where it's because you are feeling so much all of the time, and it makes it difficult. Life can be uneasy at times, sometimes a lot of the times, depending on your situation. So working more with real people, people who you trust, people who you love, people who can be honest with you, people who you feel are also can relate to you, things like that. That's extremely, extremely important. And so when you are outside more, you will feel better naturally. If you can open up your windows and breathe a little bit better, it's going to make you feel like the energy isn't closing in on you, right? It's not as dark. And so the more light we can get, the better we're going to feel as well. So that's why people will often maybe encourage you to wear bright colors, stuff like that. Being around people that are happy can make you feel better. But if you're in a headspace where you don't want the help, you may continue to block the positive things that are coming in. So I can't say receive and accept enough. That's where we can get in our own way and create our own blocks and really choose to struggle. And some people may say this isn't a choice. And absolutely, that's where we have doctors, as I was saying, to help us with this. But ultimately, it's going to get the help. That would be the key thing. So this is saying go to get the help. Balance. Hawthorne. Absolutely. Nutrition plays a huge role in the way that we feel as well. So people who might have an anxiety disorder, they're stressed, they eat when they're stressed, they are sad because they're dieting, they may be anorexic, all of those things. Again, family's going to play a huge role in this. Often are the things that we've had happen to us in childhood can lead to some of these things. Where is our support system? Is our family around? How do we feel about our family? How does our family feel about us? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how other people feel about you, right? It doesn't. And so we can get really caught up in the external versus the internal, and then focus on what everybody else is doing. So social media can play a huge role in this. So you have to limit and monitor your external versus your internal. And so I can't be too much in my head. That's why a lot of times people do yoga, meditation, relaxation, connections, things like that. And then you can't be outside all of the time, right? So we have to, like, okay, it's time to sleep now, and maybe your sleep is acting up as a result of that. So the main thing is we kind of want to bring our external into our internal and bring our internal into our external, and this is where things get really confusing, and professional people can help you with that. So when I say bring your outside to your inside, it might mean that you need people to come to you instead of you going to them, because maybe you're one of those people who always puts forward, and that's what's making you sad. It might be that you don't have a vehicle, or you don't have the energy, and you actually have to ask people to do things for you. It could be uncomfortable. That sort of thing. Going back into all the same things. Then there's the internal side. And so often depression is very internal. It's usually the nice people that struggle. But what can happen is, because we tend to naturally pull away from people when we're feeling sad, maybe we don't want to burden other people, or maybe it was we were too dependent on other people, and that's what caused the issue. It's kind of like just reevaluating and reassessing constantly. So what that means is, how do I shift this energy? How can I make a difference? How can I get out of my comfort zone? How can I change my environment? That sort of thing. So the more we can move the energy around, so I often will work with saging your space, saging yourself, incense, essential oils, things that are really helping us move and vibrate, the better it is. So if you're going to be in a smaller space or in an unhappy place, or regardless of choice, if you are in a place, it could be domestic violence, where you don't have any control of your environment. You have to recreate. And so creative energy is super powerful when we're not feeling connected to the self, when we're not feeling like we understand ourselves or other people do, for example. So the spiritual has really helped me in the past when I was feeling sick and ill myself. And again, my reasons were different maybe than yours, and maybe they're similar. For me, one of the reasons was when I was younger, I felt like I needed to express myself more than I was feeling like I had the resources to. That's why I encourage talking about feelings. The other thing would be I grew up in a very healthy environment in terms of great food and that sort of thing. But I actually had issues with digesting my food. So I had a digestive disorder. And so when I was eating these healthy foods, it was making me sick, but I wasn't feeling like anyone was listening. So it's still, for me, it was about expressing and listening, so the external versus the internal, and the communication factor, and the exchanges with relationships, and the emotional things. So the key thing here is the emotions. Depression is that we're feeling like we have to trap ourselves with all these feelings, so we have no way of letting it out, and it will just take forever. Maybe you're 500 pounds, and you feel like you're never going to be 100 pounds, and so that acceptance factor is so important in the here and now. So being a little bit more present if you can. Often we go into regret when we're sad, and so this is saying that you need to get help more with regret, specifically in the fact that you're looking back a lot and how do I rewire my brain to think in different ways, and how can I get my energy levels up to not just help me emotionally release, but mentally start to feel like that there's hope, and that's where spirituality can really make a difference, and physically you will start to feel lighter as time goes by. This is a process. It does take time. I can't say it enough to get help with this problem if you are experiencing it. It is an illness. There is sickness, and there are preventative measures that I can also help you with. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I do reach out to people through lives all the time. I do have this YouTube channel, so don't be a stranger. Get help. There's tons of resources out there that are free as well. So just do yourself a favor and take the action steps that you need. Also, if it's related to a friend, do your best to encourage and support. And that's really all we can do here on Earth. So spreading the word is super important. So take care. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Bye for now.